Hey, what's up? My name is Newt, and today I'm just gonna give oh my god, the camera's shaking so much. Okay, I'm gonna have to not shake my leg like normal. ADHD moment, oh my god. Uh, yeah, no, quite literally, dude, I always feel like I need to move something. Like, I'm always fidgeting, or like I'm bouncing my leg, or I'm totally like doing something with my hands or whatever. Um, but anyways, so I'm gonna give a little bit of a life update, and then I wanted to also talk about um, the essentially the sort of what I want to do with my life, really, and potentially not really in the idea of what do I want to do with my life academically or professionally, because I have so many different goals there and interests, and I kind of feel like I'm not in a spot necessarily to jump into something because, as I'll talk about later, um, I don't want to get too over involved and go into school mindset and just burn out again and crash and burn. And I really don't want that. Um, so to give a little bit of context, what's happening with me right now, I just got the email today that I withdrew from my university. It's a 4-year school in upstate New York. And oh my God, I'm shaking the camera again. Shit. It's just the stool, and this stool is like connected to this table, and it's really weird. Like it swings out on this hinge. And so it means that if I'm shaking my leg like I just wanted to do again, it's not very it shakes the camera as well. So one of the things about this update, so I just withdrew. Essentially my plan is, and for the future, is to get my associates in computer science at a community college in Northern California. And the reason why I'm choosing Northern California is I'm from California. I'm from Los Angeles, so it's closer to home. But I'm also have a lot of friends there in the Bay Area. And so I wanted to be closer to them as well because I had this whole like 10-day trip that I did where I kind of like crashed on people's couches and stuff. And in that sort of area, I met a lot of friends. And it really made me realize like, damn, like I really value the connection because, and I'll get into this, but I feel like at my old school, I just didn't. I connected with like one or two people, and then those people were just extremely busy because there's like kind of like this toxic sort of work culture at my old school, really. So to get into that, that's kind of my plan for the future. Do the computer science associates, apply and transfer to probably computer engineering programs, but of course I love earth sciences, so we'll see how that turns out, and I want to help the environment. So, but anyways, so I'll apply those programs probably in California. I think like that's kind of like the gist of things. Like that's my goal for the next school year, really. And so what happened, I guess, with school. So I'm obviously not going to get into a ton of the details, but I left because there were a number of reasons. One of them, there were just personal issues in terms of, I won't even really go into it, kind of like disability related stuff. And that was probably the leading factor, but essentially what happened there was and this is good to note, try and get out of your classes early because I tried to hold on to this one class for like, I'm playing with a pencil, damn it. I tried to get out of this one class. It was after 3 weeks, right? So the issue with that is that it was really hard, and so I spent a lot of effort and like mini burnt out. But kind of the issue was that there were certain academic issues and mental neurological type issues at the time that I was facing that led me to do worse in class, and that stressed me out more and led me to do even worse and blah, blah, blah. So I ended up dropping halfway through the semester of my junior year. I didn't go back in the spring because I had a little internship that also was really challenging for similar reasons. But essentially, the whole idea with that was I kind of burnt out there. It was a lot. It was really difficult. Probably the most stressful time in my life, really. And I was really challenging there. And it kind of came to this boiling point because to back up, I mean, I didn't necessarily fail any of my classes previously, but I was pretty much a B and C student. And that made things difficult because I kept getting C's and like D's on some of my exams. So I was always worried about passing and stuff. But I ended up passing my classes. So you might be like, well, New, why is that? So, or why then did you leave? So that was obviously stressful. You know, obviously the whole idea of everyone being like, oh, that class was easy. Like I got an A because everyone's super smart there. That was stressful. The amount of work that I had with some of my extracurriculars was stressful, and I don't know how to back down. But that's my fault. Like I could have eliminated that, which I kind of did my junior year. But essentially, yeah, it just wasn't really working out. It was pretty difficult with the sort of work environment. I really always felt like I was being overextended and over challenged. I was facing a lot of, as I mentioned, just like personal, mental, neurological issues and facing a lot of transitions in my life, kind of like getting involved in this like divorce, or not, I didn't get divorced, my parents got divorced. Divorce and as I'll talk about, academic kind of studying habits are challenging and just a lot of other things that I'm not going to share on this video. So that was challenging. And those ultimately led me to leave the school. So the other kind of portion of this video that I really wanted to talk about is to, yeah, I don't know, this is probably just gonna be a longer video and maybe I'll chop it up or something. I feel like I want to improve my life right now. And there's obviously this whole thing that I was mentioning earlier to a couple of people on how, and it's funny because the reason why I was inspired to make this video was from a YouTube video, but I feel like YouTube kind of makes things feel like you need to have all this plan, you need to do these big things, and like whether it be like making content or like traveling or like doing a startup or something like that, right? And I have aspirations of doing all those things, but I kind of feel like I have so many interesting goals that it's like, what do I really want to focus on, right? So what I wanted to do and take this moment to sort of go into is there was this video that I came across, and I'll link it in the comments, about a person that was tracking their habits and describing what it was like to track your habits, but also to reduce screen time and just be bored, really. And so I feel like I value that kind of idea a lot, right? Um, and I feel like, throughout this sort of process, like I've been at home this whole summer. I didn't choose to do an internship or something like that, or a job, really. I'm taking a couple classes, but that's it. And I feel like I'm doing that obviously to uh, relax a bit, right? So, and recover and stuff. But I kind of feel like I'm neglecting a lot of things in my life still that I kind of that I want to address. Um, and I'm going to go into those things. And then basically, what I want to do is to kind of think about the solutions, and basically really just find that list of habits. So, what this person did was they had a list of habits they did, and they basically just tracked every day. Were the habits met? Were the habits not met? If so, mark green. If not, mark red on this page. Just to try to keep yourself accountable. And part of the strategy they had behind that was to essentially reduce their screen time as well, which is another goal, right? To basically get bored and be able to focus on the things that maybe your habits, maybe not, maybe you're like reading or something. So, yeah. So, let me go into things. For my life, and I'm just talking about this on like a personal level, right? I'm not even talking about it on a sort of, like I mentioned, academic or professional level. I think what I'll start with is, for example, like exercise or something like that, right? So I do walk a lot. For context, I walk about 4 miles a day. So that's a good amount, right? And it keeps me from not getting super overweight. But I feel like I need to exercise more, particularly like cardio or something. But it really could be anything. Uh, and so one of the habits that I want to make is definitely to exercise more. And I'm gonna write this down because otherwise, uh, one second, because otherwise I won't have it, or I'll have to go back through the recording. I'm a little lazy for that. Maybe I'll edit this, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just post it, right? So exercise is, of course, this pencil's not working. Let me get a pen. Exercise is one of them. I walk, but that's it. And I kind of feel like, I went hiking the other day. I went hiking at a town near Los Angeles in the mountains. And I love that shit. I love hiking. I love getting out in nature, but part of it was just the physical activity. Like I was going up and down hills. It was 5 miles, but I was carrying a light backpack. And I also was going up, like getting a sweat in, breathing hard and stuff. And I kind of realized, like afterwards, I felt so much better. Like I felt a lot more centered. I felt a lot more connected, but also I just kind of felt like physically better, right? And so it kind of took me back to the time when I was actually like exercising more. And I feel like I get in such of this sort of funk. It's kind of hard to describe. And I feel like maybe exercising and being energized and stuff like that will help me. So that's one of the things I'll try and mention. And I want to set reasonable goals, of course. But I also feel like if I don't challenge myself, things won't get done. So one of the things I'll just mention this right now. I'm gonna try and do 3 days a week for cardio and 2 days a week for like strength building. And it doesn't even have to be big. Like, it could be just core exercises. It could be weights. It could be like a rowing machine or something. And realistically, I suck at getting out to the gym. I just like don't go out to the gym, and it's really bad. But it's like hard to motivate myself to get to another space, which is kind of like why I like running a lot. So I'll probably do that for cardio. And then the other thing that I'll try and do, yeah, and then I mentioned kind of what I'll do for strength. So there's exercise. I think there's dieting. And I think the only way that I'm really gonna learn that at this current point is to probably just hop in and help my dad cook. So, and really, there's another goal, but I'll get to that. So I'm gonna say diet, and then I'm gonna say cooking 3 times a week, right? That's something that I find important because I got to learn how to cook at some point. I'm kind of lazy. And also it saves money and time. Well, not really time. It saves money. And it's healthier for me to cook rather than not to cook. Because all this stuff that I'm eating out, it's gets shit for you. Shit for me. So I can do that, of course. The other thing that I want to get rid of is I want to try and get rid of eating chips. I have this really bad habit of eating a lot of chips. I'll get a family-sized bag of like Lay's chips, and I will most entirely eat at least half of it in one sitting, and then the other half in the other sitting. So I finish a family-sized bag of Lay's in 2 days, and I just eat a lot of food, really. I'm not going to try and restrict my actual diet intake because I've tried that before, and then it gets me in this weird, like, I almost feel like I'm going to start having disordered eating, and I definitely don't want that. But I think just cooking more and trying to not eat the chips. So I don't know exactly how to do that, but if anyone has any suggestions, that would be good. But I think maybe just trying to put it in a bowl or just, dividing it up. So instead of eating out of the bag. So I'm going to try and say reduce chips and then maybe like 1 bag a week, right? And part of what I'm doing here is I'm trying to make, I know there's this whole SMART goals or whatever, specific, measurable, attainable, I don't know, accurate, realistic, something, I don't know, time-based. And just what I'm doing is I'm trying to quantify, like, say, 3 days of cardio or like cooking 3 times a week, because otherwise I'm just not likely to do it as much. So, okay, there's that. The other thing that I'll get into is kind of just hygiene. Like, I just want to be hygienic, but I want to do it every day. So I'm not gonna go into that, but making sure that that's all covered. 7 days a week. What else do I really want to do? I don't want to get into like hobbies, right? As much, because I feel like I have a lot of interest in hobbies, and I've kind of given up on trying to focus on one thing. So I might actually try to just focus on these like self-improvement type things. So I'm just gonna say read. I want to read every day. And I read a lot, obviously, in terms of like, I don't know, like textbooks at this point. Sometimes I'll read papers, I'll go on YouTube. I'm kind of nerdy. I read a lot of scientific stuff. And while this video is hitting 20 minutes, which is kind of crazy, but oops, that's okay. But I just like the act of slowing it down and really getting engaged in the material. And it's something that I just never do, and I've always enjoyed. And I did a lot while I was little, and that's the only reason why I swore I did pretty well in high school. So yeah, I want to read more. It could be anything really, just a book, just like a normal book, really. What else am I interested in doing? So again, there are certain things that I want to do, like I don't know, like languages, or sometimes music, because I like to do music production. I co-produced a song. It's called Denial by Launchpad or Ghost. It's one of my friends, and I helped produce it. So sometimes I do music, sometimes I'll try and have a different channel I just started more for like science and math type videos. I have so many things I want to do, etc. Right? You get the point, but I don't think that's something that I want to make a daily habit that I'm trying to start. Now, because part of this too is I feel like with my hobbies, it just ends up being I don't end up actually, I turn it into a competition, not a competition, like it being a need to practice consistently because I want to turn into a skill, or I want to turn into content creation, or I want to get paid for it later, kind of like a job, and it kind of sucks the fun out of things. So I definitely don't want to be doing that, which is kind of why I don't really want to put hobbies on here. If I was to do one, it would probably be just something relaxed, like languages every day. Right. Because I feel like it's really fun learning for me and communicating with people. And I just do Duolingo. It doesn't have to be too much. But again, music, like I'm not always inspired. YouTube, it's kind of hard to, I don't want to hold myself to that because there's a lot of, it just takes time and effort, and it's easy to kind of lose focus there, etc. So maybe I'll write that down. Otherwise, I think, I need to get skip therapy, but that's a different story. I think the only other thing I would say is maybe to, obviously, I kind of want to record this process, however it ends up turning out, and I will keep people posted. And on that note, it's been a really long video, so peace out, everyone. That was not peace out the first time, but peace out, stay well. I'm gonna write those down, and then what I want to do tomorrow is to try to give everyone a detailed look, or maybe not a detailed look, but a look into how I'm setting up the sort of system to keep track of my habits, and I'm probably gonna have to do more research for that. Okay, thanks, bye.